10 Myths of World War I. World War I, also known as the Great War, was a complex and devastating conflict that shaped the 20th century in many ways. Over time, several myths and misconceptions about the war have emerged. Here are 10 big myths of World War I. The war was only about trench warfare. While trench warfare was a significant aspect of World War I, the conflict involved a variety of military strategies and fronts, including naval battles, aerial combat, and more mobile warfare on the Eastern Front. It was only fought in Europe. World War I was a global conflict, involving many nations across multiple continents. The war had theaters in Africa, Asia, the Middle East, and the Pacific. Everyone wanted the war. The idea that all European powers eagerly sought war is a myth. Many leaders and nations were caught in a web of alliances, and the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary triggered the conflict. It was primarily a tug-of-war between Germany and France. While the Western Front was a critical theater of war, the conflict involved multiple fronts and nations. The Eastern Front, Germany and Austria-Hungary versus Russia, and the Balkans were also significant areas of combat. It was a quick, short war. Many believed that the war would be over quickly, but it dragged on for 4 long years from 1914 to 1918, resulting in millions of casualties. It was a war of great heroes and glorious charges. World War I was characterized by brutal trench warfare and new weapons technology, leading to heavy casualties. There were few instances of traditional heroic charges. The generals were incompetent. While some generals made costly mistakes, it's unfair to label all as incompetent. They faced the challenges of adapting to new forms of warfare and were often constrained by political pressures. The war ended abruptly with the armistice. The armistice in 1918 did not immediately bring peace. Negotiations and the Treaty of Versailles followed, and the aftermath of the war led to lingering tensions that contributed to World War II. The soldiers were all older men. Many soldiers were young and inexperienced, especially in the early stages of the war. Young men, some just teenagers, were often called to the front lines. It was primarily a British-French-American victory. The role of other nations, such as Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and colonial troops, was significant. Additionally, the contributions of non-allied nations, such as Japan and Italy, played a part in the war's outcome. These myths highlight the need to have a more nuanced understanding of World War I. The war was a complex and multifaceted event with a lasting impact on the 20th century, and acknowledging the complexities and dispelling these myths is essential for a more accurate historical perspective.